Hello, today's topic is boundaries. It took me a very long time to really get the importance of boundaries. I would say that the word itself was threatening to me for the longest time, and I was in denial and did not want to hear anything about boundaries in my 20s and 30s. Um, and once again, my son was the flame that really showed how crucial it was to have healthy boundaries. And for me, boundaries includes everything that is required for self-worth. You cannot establish healthy boundaries without building a good sense of self. And by sense of self, I don't mean I'm so fantastic, I'm so great, I'm the best, I'm making light of it, but not the superficial meaning of self-worth, but truly having a great inner stability, a pillar of worth, meaning that you do not have to earn the right to be heard, honored, appreciated, respected, listened to when appropriate. Um, it's not something you have to do anything for. It's not something that you need to do A, B, C in order to get it. You deserve to be honored and to have people respect your boundaries just because you are, as a human being, and others as well. The beauty of boundaries is when you really establish healthy boundaries for yourself, you will automatically be more kind and more respectful to others. So I feel a very simple way to understand boundaries is anytime somebody, something, a situation, someone comes at you in a certain way that triggers any sense of not feeling safe, any fear, um, any kind of initial step back, um, any sense of feeling, oh God, I wish I didn't have to do this or say this or go there or allow that. All of that is not having the ability to have healthy boundaries, having a sense of I am worthy to be asking for this space. So the space meaning, hold on, kindly asking for a pause button, where you need to give yourself the time to process the information. Um, is that what you really want to say? Is that what you really want to do? Will that leave you feeling very, wounded somehow, hurt, blessé in French, you know, just not right. Oh, from that to the most extreme, trespass of boundaries, abuse, and all that. But I'm not going to go deep in a rabbit hole in terms of how deep trespassing boundaries can go. But in general, even in our day-to-day way of dealing with each other, we often trespass boundaries. We allow it. So I'm not here to have you or to influence you, if I could, in looking at how others, what they do, what they should be doing, right? What they shouldn't be doing. But are you capable of simply having the self-worth, the love of saying, oh, wait, and giving yourself the space to process the information, as I said, and decide, no, not now, or just, no, that's not okay with me. Perhaps later, let me think on it. Giving yourself the space to not have a knee-jerk reaction that is based on past or fear of how they would react, but really, how is that hitting me? How does it feel, this ask or this behavior, or simply the way this person looks at me constantly when I'm hanging out with him or her? How does that feel? I need space, I need time to process the information and to choose to be responsible for what I allow in that space, to choose for myself which individual, which energy is okay around me. And in the doing of that, in the pausing, you also get to know yourself. You're learning what it's like to be intimate with yourself, not with how you wish you were, you know, how you wish you were not, but what is actually in reality what are your realities? What are your behaviors? How do you, aware of the moments where you allow things constantly that eventually you're exhausted or drained or running on empty or plainly sick, physically ill, or that may, with accumulation of allowing these trespassing of boundaries, a deep depression. The need to please can be part of that. Being extremely empathic can be part of that. When you're very sensitive to how others feel, I know that was the case for me, so sensitive to how others feel that it was important to keep the harmony. And I would do anything and everything to keep the harmony. I'm still guilty of that on and off in my home, but I'm getting better, much better. And my son, again, was my greatest teacher, because you see the impact of who you are on your children. They emulate it, or they allow things that you allow, or they do the opposite. Or if you allow them to trespass your own boundaries, eventually you will see how wounded that relationship is. So boundaries don't have to be just the big obvious ones, but the constant moment where you allow yourself to do, say, and pretend day in and day out. Constantly pretend that it's okay, or that you were in the mood for, or that you don't mind this particular this or that, right? All these little moments, and I know for mothers it's quite easy to fall into that trap. You are almost taught to forget about the self for a moment when you first give birth to a child, most of us. You are so engulfed into wanting to soothe and please and nourish. And for a long time it is appropriate to be a little more tired than you should, to show up in a way that you may not for others. But at some point it's important to reestablish your own boundaries with your own child. I'm guilty of not having done that soon enough. So boundaries is a way to get to know yourself, be intimate, and keep yourself healthy. Healthy on the most basic physical level, but emotionally healthy, and that congruency that I always talk about includes the need for boundaries, so that all is aligned, so that you are pillared, you are centered in a great sense of self, that feel loving enough, feel enough, however imperfect you may think of yourself, or the outside world may make you feel as if you're never enough. But having this sense of, just because I am, therefore I deserve to be respected, honored for what is okay and not okay for me. Again, there's a way to do this with great kindness, often doing it with great kindness when appropriate is more effective, actually. So boundaries is a way of loving yourself, a way of getting to know yourself, giving yourself a beat in life for whatever comes at you. Anytime you need a beat, anytime you react this way, anytime you're about to do something that will give you a hangover, an emotional hangover that will deplete you, you are allowed to be responsible, to choose when you respond to life, to individual, to situation, as opposed to reacting, unconscious reaction, based on programs that are not working for you anymore. The space to say, wait, let me process this and get back to you. Or in the moment, wait, take the time to pause and think about this. Think with your heart. Feel it here. Is it okay? You don't have to analyze it. You don't have to, give them a good enough reason that they feel they'll honor because they get it. It doesn't have to be gotten. As long as you feel it here that it's not okay, whatever that is, you are allowed to say it's not okay. And eventually it becomes a natural thing. And the more able you are of taking care of yourself, the stronger you get. And the more easily you can see that everyone can take care of themselves. You're not responsible for them. Your work is your work. And establishing your boundaries is a beautiful, loving kind of work that asks of you to be more aware, more in the present. It's beautiful when in the present, in the moment, you can ask for that moment of, I need a beat here. I need to process this before I respond. Allowing yourself to that luxury of instant gratification that way. But for a while, you may have to get back on it. You may have to, at the end of the day, in a journal, write down the moments that didn't feel good. Or throughout the day, you may not be able to step into your power that way, but perhaps you're capable of noticing it not long after, writing down these moments throughout the day where you did not step up for yourself. Read it at night and make, a promise to yourself. Make a affirmation, I should say, to yourself that I will bring more awareness and I will allow myself to say no when I need to say no, or hold on, I need more time, not now, when appropriate. So it's okay, it may take a while, but stay at it. It's delicious. It feels amazing when you love yourself. And the more able you are to keep these boundaries alive, to love yourself appropriately, to give yourself this this ability to know that you are extremely lovable and worthy of great appreciation and respect, the more effective of a human being you'll become, and the less you will need from others. You will not need their approval at all. It's very, very doable, guys, not to need others' approval. Right now, marketing does not make you feel like that's the case, but I think we are actually set up in a way that the approval of others is really not necessary. It's lovely, feels good, but it's definitely not needed. So this is a very worthy ride to take on for yourself. I know that I see the more I'm capable of having a great sense of self-worth for myself, the easier my relationship is with my kid. And it's beautiful to see that flowering in him, seeing that he is better at boundaries than I was, because I am learning to be better at it as well. So for him, it might not be such heavy lifting. It might be more natural. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for listening.